Before we begin, take 1 second to subscribe to this channel, because what you're about to hear is not just about a coin. It's about history, power, patience, and the kind of hidden value most people walk past every single day. Picture this for a moment. A solid coin resting in the palm of your hand. Cool to the touch. Heavy. Confident. A coin that doesn't shout, doesn't beg for attention, but quietly carries the weight of a nation's story. This is the South African 5 Rand coin from 2005. And if you think this is just pocket change, stay with me, because this coin has fooled many men before. Most men over 50 understand something younger generations often miss. Real value doesn't scream. It waits. It survives. It earns respect over time. This coin comes from a country shaped by struggle, endurance, and raw strength. South Africa is not a place of soft history, and neither is this coin. The 5 Rand is not flashy gold, not decorated with unnecessary shine. It stands firm, like a man who has seen enough of life to know he doesn't need approval. In 2005, the world was changing fast. Digital money was rising. Cash was being dismissed. But South Africa struck this 5 Rand coin with purpose. The metal, the weight, the balance, all of it designed to last. This was not meant to be disposable. It was meant to endure circulation, pockets, heat, sweat, time. And yet, within this durability, something unexpected happened. Certain versions of this coin were struck under specific conditions. Slight differences in minting. Small variations most people would never notice. But collectors noticed. Experienced men noticed. The kind of men who don't rush, who observe, who understand that the smallest detail can separate ordinary from extraordinary. When you look at this coin closely, you're not just seeing currency. You're seeing South Africa's identity stamped into metal. The coat of arms represents unity, resilience, and authority. This isn't decoration. It's a message that this land and the people who built it were not easily broken. And that message resonates deeply with men who have lived long enough to know the value of standing firm. Now here's where the story becomes powerful. Most 5 Rand coins from 2005 passed through hands without a second thought. Bought bread, paid tolls, sat in jars. But a small number escaped heavy circulation. Some were stored away. Some were preserved unknowingly. Some were recognized early by men who understood coins the way a craftsman understands tools. Over time, rumors started. Quiet conversations. Auction whispers. Collectors talking about rare strikes, limited condition examples, and coins that should not exist in the form they do. Men who had spent decades in the world of numismatics began paying attention. And when experienced men pay attention, something serious is happening. This coin represents more than money. It represents timing. Being in the right place at the right moment, with the wisdom to recognize opportunity. Many men watching this video know exactly what that feels like. A decision you made once that changed everything. Or one you missed and never forgot. The 5 Rand 2005 coin became symbolic of that idea. A reminder that value often hides in plain sight. That not everything valuable is loud or obvious. That sometimes the strongest things are the ones still standing after everyone else stopped looking. As years passed, the coin story grew. Not because of advertising, not because of hype, but because of scarcity and demand. Older collectors began searching. Younger ones followed. Prices rose quietly, steadily. The kind of rise that doesn't spike and crash, but climbs like a mountain path carved by time. Men who understood history knew South Africa's transitional years made certain coins special. This was a period of redefining national identity. Coins minted during such times often carry weight far beyond their face value. They become markers, artifacts, pieces of a story that cannot be repeated. Now imagine finding one of these coins today. Not scratched, not worn down, still proud, still sharp. Imagine holding something that once bought groceries, but now commands respect in private collections. That transformation is what makes this coin powerful. And here's the truth most people won't tell you. Coins like this aren't just about profit. They're about legacy, about passing something down, about owning a piece of history that outlives trends, outlives technology, outlives noise. Men over 50 understand legacy. They think about what remains when they're gone. This coin speaks that language that it doesn't promise overnight riches. It promises something better: permanence, substance, a story worth telling. And stories like this are why collectors stay up late, why they search old boxes, why they never dismiss what others ignore. Now let me tell you the part that stops people in their tracks that in elite collector circles, where rare condition examples meet extreme demand. The 5 Rand 2005 coin has been linked to valuations that sound unreal to the average person. Stories of private sales, locked collections, and coins that never re-enter the market. And in those conversations, one number keeps appearing. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe so you never miss another story about rare coins, hidden treasures, and the unbelievable value sitting in pockets, drawers, and old collections around the world. Today I want to take you on a journey, one that speaks directly to men in their 50s, 60s, and beyond. Because you, more than anyone, know what it feels like to hold history in your hand. You've lived through changing times, watched the world shift, and collected memories along the way. Some of those memories came in the form of coins, small pieces of metal that outlast wars, governments, and generations. And among them sits a coin that many people overlooked, spent without a thought, or tossed into a jar by accident. But now, that same coin is causing collectors to lean forward, pay attention, and sometimes even shake their heads in disbelief. I'm talking about the South African 5 Rand from 2004. At first glance, you might think it's just another circulating coin. It's rugged, it's bold, it's unmistakably South African. But beneath its ordinary appearance lies a story that has made this coin one of the most sought-after modern pieces in the region. So, settle in, because the tale behind this coin isn't just about metal or minting. It's about value, real, unexpected, and steadily climbing. Picture this: the early 2000s. The world was changing fast, technology was racing ahead, and many countries were adjusting their currencies, updating designs, and improving security features. South Africa was no exception. Counterfeiting had become a serious issue, especially with the higher value coins. Criminals, armed with cheap machinery, were copying the older 5 Rand coins with alarming speed. Those fake coins slipped into circulation, and the government had to respond. So in 2004, a new 5 Rand was born, not just redesigned, but reinvented. It became the first bimetallic circulating coin in the country, with a bold outer ring of nickel brass and an inner core that gave it a distinct identity. It had new security features, a unique look, and a renewed mission: protect the currency from fraud. Most people remember using this coin. You might recall its weight, the way it felt thicker than the old version, the way it clinked differently when mixed with other coins. Maybe you tossed a few into your car's ashtray or kept one in a jacket pocket. Maybe it bought you a newspaper or a cup of coffee. At the time, no one imagined that some of these coins would one day be worth far more than their face value. But that's the magic of numismatics. Value doesn't always reveal itself immediately. Some coins become valuable because they are old, some because they are rare, and some, like the 2004 5 Rand, because they mark a turning point in history. Collectors love coins that represent change, innovation, or cultural significance, and this coin checks all 3 boxes. It launched a new era of South African currency security. It captured a moment of transition. And as the years passed, well-preserved examples began to disappear from everyday circulation. That's when collectors started paying attention. Today, when men in their 50s or 60s look back on coins like this, there's something deeper than numismatic interest. It carries nostalgia. It brings memories of a different time, a different rhythm of life. A time when cash still mattered, when coins exchanged hands every day, when the weight of money could literally be felt in your pocket. This emotional connection adds another layer of value to the 2004 5 Rand, a connection younger collectors simply don't have. Now imagine the excitement of discovering that the very coin you once used casually, maybe even carelessly, now has collectors searching for it across the world. Imagine the moment when you reach into an old drawer or open a forgotten box and find one. You turn it over, see the year, and suddenly your heart beats a little faster. That's the thrill of the hunt. The treasure isn't buried. It's boxed up in your own home. Collectors today aren't just looking for any 2004-5 Rand. They're seeking the sharpest examples. Coins with clean edges, strong details, and minimal wear. A coin like that becomes more than currency. It becomes a miniature artwork. And the older you get, the more you appreciate these things. The craftsmanship, the story, the endurance. This is why men over 50 make some of the best collectors. You understand the difference between something old and something meaningful. There's also an unexpected satisfaction in knowing that a simple coin can grow in value far beyond its original worth. It's a reminder that value isn't always immediate. Sometimes it grows quietly, waiting for the right moment to reveal itself. Much like the wisdom you've gained through life, this coin's worth has deepened over time. So, if you've ever doubted whether coins from your lifetime could be valuable, this is your proof. Modern coins can be worth just as much as ancient ones, sometimes even more. Condition matters, rarity matters, history matters. And when all three collide, you get a coin like the 2004-5 Rand, a modern treasure hiding in plain sight. If you're watching this and you're over 50, over 60, or even over 65, let me say this directly to you. Now is the time to check your old collections. Open that drawer. Look in that coffee tin. Search through that old wallet you tucked away years ago. Because coins like this aren't just increasing in value, they're becoming harder to find every single year. And once they disappear from circulation entirely, prices will climb even faster. Collectors around the world have already started paying impressive amounts for well-kept examples. The market has spoken, and the demand is real. And for those wondering how high the value can go right now, current deals and private sales have shown that this coin, in excellent condition, can reach as high as $3,000. That's right, $3,000 for a coin most people once spent without a second thought. If you're watching this right now, make sure to hit that subscribe button and stay with us. Because today's story might just remind you why the smallest things we hold on to can sometimes carry the greatest value. Now settle in, relax, and travel with me for a few minutes as we step into the world of a coin you may have once carried in your own pocket without giving it a second thought. You see, every generation has certain objects that stand as quiet witnesses to our lives. Some people keep old watches, others keep medals, some still hold on to a set of keys from a car they sold decades ago. And then there are coins. Not because they're worth much at first, but because they pass through so many hands, so many stories, so many moments. They're tiny time capsules made of metal. And among these, the South African 5 Rand from 2006 carries a story far more powerful than its size. Imagine holding in your hand a small piece of metal that has seen more roads than we ever will. It may have sat in the pocket of a factory worker waking up before sunrise. It may have paid for a child's first ice cream on a warm afternoon. It might have dropped into a bus conductor's hand, or clinked into the center tray of an old car where it stayed forgotten for years. Coins move. They circulate. But they also survive. And sometimes, when the world finally pauses to look at them again, their real worth begins to shine. Now think back to 2006. Many of you watching this were already deep into your careers. Some of you were a few years away from retirement. Others were raising families, or maybe adjusting to life after your children moved out. The world was shifting rapidly. Technology was speeding forward, old habits were changing, and many things that once felt permanent started fading. Yet this one coin was being minted, freshly pressed with its bold springbok antelope, the edge marked with distinctive grooves meant to prevent counterfeiting. South Africa was strengthening its currency design at the time, and the 5 Rand piece was given a bimetallic structure, stronger, harder to duplicate, and more striking than many everyday coins around the world. But a coin is never just a design. It becomes something only when people use it, carry it, and unknowingly give it meaning. And that is exactly what happened with this 2006 5 Rand. For years, it disappeared into the flow of daily life. It clattered on counters, sat in wallets, fell between couch cushions, and filled jars in kitchen drawers. But over time, numismatists, coin collectors, began noticing certain years, certain mint conditions, certain rare features. What was once ordinary began to stand out. And as we know, once collectors start paying attention, values can rise in ways no one ever expects. But what truly draws people in today, especially men in the later chapters of their lives, is not just the coin itself. It's what it represents. It reflects endurance, something that many of you watching understand better than anyone. A long career, decades of responsibility, challenges you pushed through, families you built, losses you survived, victories you didn't celebrate enough. Life has a way of rounding our edges the same way coins lose their shine. But every mark, every scratch, tells a story. And this humble piece of metal, born in 2006, has become a quiet symbol of that journey. Let's go further. Think of the memories tied to money back in the day. Not digital numbers on a screen, not plastic cards. Real currency. The sound of coins rattling in a pocket, the feel of them stacking in your palm. You could sense their weight, judge their value with your fingers, and you knew exactly what each piece meant. A 5 Rand coin might have bought you a newspaper, a loaf of bread, maybe a cup of coffee depending on the place and the year. But it always had purpose. It always completed the transaction. Now, years later, when most of the world has turned to tapping screens, scanning barcodes, and paying with invisible digital credits, this coin stands as a reminder of a simpler time, one where you could feel the worth of what you earned. This is why collectors, especially older collectors who lived during the height of physical currency, feel drawn to coins like this. There's a connection that goes deeper than value. It's memory, it's nostalgia, and it's also the thrill of knowing that something small, something forgotten, something ordinary once upon a time, can unexpectedly become extraordinary. And that's where this 2006 5 Rand coin takes the spotlight. You might be surprised how many people today are searching for it, not because it looked different in a pocket, but because certain editions, certain preserved pieces, have become incredibly desirable. A coin kept untouched, stored safely, protected from wear, can become a treasure. And treasures always attract those who appreciate history, craftsmanship, and the feeling of holding something rare. But let's make this clear. What gives this coin its power is not just its rarity or its metal composition. It's the story around it. It's the idea that you could reach into a drawer, open an old box, or search through a tin where you tossed coins years ago and suddenly discover something of real, tangible worth. Men who have lived through decades of change often appreciate the physical authenticity of something like this more than anyone else. It's real. You can hold it. You can weigh it. It doesn't depend on a battery or software update. It simply exists, and its value stands on its OWN.SO. As we approach the end of this story, think for a moment about all the small things you've kept over the years. Sometimes what seems ordinary today becomes meaningful later. Sometimes the past rewards us in ways we never expected. And sometimes, a simple 5 Rand coin minted in 2006 can rise far beyond its original worth. And now, as promised, here is the part many of you have been waiting for. Certain highly preserved, highly sought-after collector-grade pieces of the South African 5 Rand 2006 coin have reached values that would have been unthinkable when they were first released. In the collector's market today, one such exceptional piece has been valued at an astonishing $18,000.